July 16th, 2004. The 997 is revealed. Porsche enthusiasts from all corners of the globe could rejoice. The vulgar 996 was finally put to rest. Its successor didn't flaunt a groundbreaking new design. Porsche went back to their roots with something more evolution than revolution. The fried egg headlights, despised for their likeness to the less expensive Boxster, regressed to a more familiar front end. The flowing lines of the 996, disparaged as too feminine, were replaced with muscular flared fenders and a chiseled rear end. Porsche reverted to a more traditional aesthetic in here, too. A modern take on the classic 911 cockpit. A few more gadgets than the air-cooled generation, yes, but restrained in its modernity, producing a look that's undeniably simple and clean. So, visually, they've made it more palatable for the purists. But how does it stack up in the driving department?
Well, to be honest, it feels a lot like the old car. And that's because basically, it is.
Beneath the all-new, conventionally styled bodywork lies the same 996 chassis, the same 996 door frame, the same manual gearbox, and in this base model Carrera, the same exact engine. But despite the similarity, they've made a few tweaks that actually made it worse to drive. For starters, it weighs 200 pounds more than the 996. And they replaced the tried and true, linear, predictable 911 steering with some sort of variable ratio witchcraft. The good news is that most owners won't notice either of these things on their way to the 9 a.m. shareholders meeting. What they will notice, though, is the exhaust. Or should I say, you won't notice it, because it's quieter. And that's a shame, as that was one of the biggest highlights of the 996. The way the sport exhaust growled in the low revs and roared in the high ones. Fortunately, installing an aftermarket exhaust is an easy fix.
But I'll tell you what isn't an easy fix. The IMS bearing. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, Henry, that was the 996's problem. They fixed it on this car. Well, they certainly improved the design. They beefed it up a bit and thought, yeah, this is great. We fixed it. And then they shoved it into the bowels of the engine and made it inaccessible so that no one would think about it. Problem is, they didn't actually fix it. But now that it's tucked away, you can't fix it either. That is, unless you're willing to drop 20 grand on a full engine rebuild.
This car, then, is an enigma. It has all the problems of the 996, but doesn't look as good, weighs more, sounds quieter, has more unnecessary technology, and yet for some reason, people pay more for them.
Now, if you are a 997 owner watching this, don't get too salty. Because calling a car slightly inferior to the 996 is like saying you're dating someone slightly less attractive than Margot Robbie. I mean, if that's the case, you've done pretty well for yourself.
There's no doubt that this is a superb driving car. It's so poised, so balanced, even with a giant anvil hanging off the back axle. The suspension is proper sports car suspension. You feel every road imperfection through your seat. The immediate response to the throttle and surge of power you get from the engine are absolutely intoxicating.
And if you opted for the more powerful Carrera S, which wasn't offered for the 996, you'd get a whole 30 extra horsepower. And that's something that doesn't go unnoticed.
The thing about 911s is, new or old, Carrera Cab or Tracked Out Turbo, they all feel so at home on these twisty roads. More than that, it feels like they fantasize about them when they're tucked in their garages at night. And when you unleash them here, they thank you for it. So if you own a 997, don't feel bad that you paid more for a car that's inferior to the 996. Be thankful that your car won't be spat on at your local PCA meeting.